Federal government reaffirms commitment to Ogoni demands ahead of oil exploration resumption. On the foreign scene, former U.S. President Bill Clinton among names subpoenaed in congressional Epstein investigation. Now the detail. President Bola Tinubu has assented to the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2025. This was revealed today by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga. Now, the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act, NIIRA 2025, the presidency said the legislation would strengthen Nigeria's financial sector and accelerate the nation's march towards a $1 trillion economy. The presidency said the act repealed and consolidated several outdated insurance laws into a single modern legal framework. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to implementing the conditions set by the Ogoni ethnic nationality in Rivers State as part of the ongoing dialogue aimed at the possible resumption of oil exploration in the area. Director General of Energy Security in the Office of the National Security Advisor, Ojukaye Flag Amakri, gave the assurance during an inspection visit to Ogoni land. Flag Amakri, who led members of the Ogoni Dialogue team to assess critical infrastructure projects as part of confidence-building efforts, stated that the visit was to evaluate the current state of key projects and to determine how best to ensure their functionality in line with the demands made by the Ogoni people before oil activities can resume. He highlighted some of the facilities visited and reaffirmed the federal government's resolve to meet its obligations under the dialogue process, just as he commended the Ogoni people for their cooperation and peaceful engagement.
Of oil operation here in Ogoniland, and critical facility were agreed upon by the federal government and the community to help in building confidence in this genuine federal government initiative to resume oil exploration. So we're here to carry out on-the-spot assessment to look at what can be done quickly. We started with the East-West Road, and we saw a lot of improvement and encouraging. We also visited the General Hospital in Eleme. We've also visited the specialist hospital. So on behalf of federal government, we want to state sincere seriousness in terms of meeting our own part of the agreement.
On his part, Chairman of the Ogoni Dialogue team, Professor Don Baridam, outlined some of the conditions presented to the federal government prior to the discussions on oil resumption and expressed satisfaction with the steps taken so far.
When we met with the government sometime in February this year, we presented some confidence-building measures, things that government must do before we start talking with them. One of them was the completion of the East-West Road. The second one was signing of the bill of the University of Environment into law. The third one was rehabilitation of some of our hospitals and then employment of some of our youth ANP. I'm happy to say that that road construction is almost going. You've seen it. I think they've started, and by the grace of God, they would complete it. This is the first time we, the Ogoni people, are having a sense of belonging.
Today FM's Uchendu Joel reports that Professor Baridam also announced that the first academic session of the newly approved Federal University of Environment and Technology will commence in October 2025. Some of the facilities inspected by the delegation include Ogoni Specialist Hospital, Federal University of Environment and Technology, Nchia General Hospital in Eleme, the Eleme axis of the ongoing East-West Road project, Federal Medical Center, Taba in Kana, Center of Excellence in Kana Local Government Area, and Comprehensive Health Center, K-Deri in Gokana Local Government Area. Meanwhile, residents of Eleme Local Government Area in River State have expressed dissatisfaction over the slow pace of construction on the Eleme axis of the East-West Road. President of Eleme Youth, Richard Abu, raised the concern during an inspection visit by delegates from the federal government and the Ogoni Dialogue team, as he urged the government to ensure that the original construction standards for the road are upheld. Abu, who spoke alongside a commercial driver applying the route, lamented the continued hardship faced by road users and noted that the deteriorating state of the road and persistent traffic congestion have become opportunities for hoodlums to attack unsuspecting commuters.
To the federal government to ensure that what we heard about this road should be the ending part of it, which is the 3 flyover that this road is contained. They should make sure that this 3 flyover is part of the process for the completion of this project, and also finance the contractors that are handling the project, because it's very dull. You can see on a daily basis the Eleme people are suffering on daily basis. We are witnesses of accidents, road blockage, traffic, and thereabout. Even hoodlums, robbers have also make use of this path because of its delay in the completion. So we are appealing as a community, as a youth, that the federal government should do its part to ensure that this road sees to its light, and also to ensure that it's delivered timely.
So that has led to some holes, thereby leading to a lot of road. I see this just very close by here, not so long. The wires are start coming out, so I don't know what they are doing so far. So we are unsure.
At the Gokana General Hospital in Gokana local government area, the resident doctor in charge, Dr. Fidelis Bapep, highlighted some of the hospital's key challenges, including inadequate accommodation for medical personnel and a lack of essential medical equipment. Dr. Bapep appealed to the government to address these issues promptly to enhance the quality and efficiency of healthcare service delivery at the facility.
It will enable us to be on ground to render services round the clock. So the area of staff accommodation is very key, and I'll urge you to look into that. Then coming back to the wards where we have services to patients, the wards and the consulting rooms, there are many things, equipment that need to be provided, and many other things, theater, putting things in shape. Maybe as we go around, we'll look at these things and identify them. And then there are already existing buildings, but they're in very bad shape and not habitable.
Gokana General Hospital is one of the health facilities renovated and commissioned by the immediate past administration of Governor Yesum Wike during his tenure. Stakeholders in Ogoniland are calling on the federal government and oil multinationals to increase funding for the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project HYPREP, 14 years after the release of the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP report. Former president of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, Mosop Lebosi Yabara, commended the progress made by HYPREP, stating that the cleanup efforts have helped build environmental expertise within the region. Reflecting on the Ogoni Bill of Rights 35 years after its adoption, Yibara acknowledged the positive strides made by HYPREP in addressing long-standing environmental challenges.
Both local and international actors can reduce the tendency for violence, the tendency for people to take laws into their hand. It was the peaceful advocacy of the Ogoni people, which of course took us from Ogoniland to Nigeria to the hallowed halls of the United Nations in Geneva and New York, which eventually called on the Nigerian government to, in collaboration with Shell and Mosop, establish an independent agency to carry out the environmental audit of Ogoniland, which was a recommendation submitted. Today, 14 years after, the story has changed. This report has provided what you may call the template, intervening not just in Ogoni, but other parts of the Niger Delta.
Environmental rights activists Celestine Akpobari and Melele Nzidi also praised the ongoing construction of the Center of Excellence for Environmental Remediation, describing it as a potential global hub for learning and research. They reiterated the need for increased funding, stressing that the initial $1 billion allocated for the project was only a starting point, as according to them, additional financial resources are critical to ensuring the success and sustainability of the cleanup efforts.
Report, which had to do with remediation and cleanup program, have vastly diversified into livelihood, and the livelihood that have virtually lifted our people from zero level of poverty to where they are putting up themselves to a livelihood of living occasioned by HYPREP under the able leadership is a very justifiable struggle we have gone into by 14 years down the line.
One more thing I would like Professor Zabe to do is to ensure that he kickstarts assessment of other polluted sites in the Niger Delta, because Ogoni will not be clean until other parts of Niger Delta are clean. I also want all the human rights groups, activists, to begin right now to call on the government of Nigeria to put money into the purse of the $1 billion that was set aside for that project was for the first 5 years. It's called take-off grants. That money will not be enough. Ogoni cleanup will take over $300 billion.
14 years after the release of the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP report on environmental degradation in Ogoniland, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project has reaffirmed its commitment to fully implementing the report's recommendations while recording notable progress in environmental remediation and livelihood restoration. In a statement signed by HYPREP's head of communications in Nuolari, Mba Wigo, the agency outlined key achievements since its establishment, including advancements in soil and groundwater remediation, shoreline cleanup, mangrove restoration, and the provision of potable water to affected communities. Mbawigo stated that 50 simple risk sites have been fully remediated and certified by the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, while medium risk complex site at 38% completed. He added that shoreline cleanup under phase 1 is 56% complete, while mangrove restoration has reached an impressive 93%. The Center of Excellence for Environmental Restoration, SIA, according to Mbawigo, is 90% complete, while the Ogoni Specialist Hospital and Boa Cottage Hospital have reached 86 and 98% completion respectively. He further noted that 30 communities now have access to clean drinking water, with 4 additional major water projects scheduled for commissioning within the next 3 months, bringing total coverage to 42 communities. Mbawigo emphasized that HYPERP's project coordinator, Professor Neni Barini Zabi, has consistently maintained that the cleanup effort must prioritize community involvement in sustainable development to ensure lasting impact. You're listening to the World News on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Do stay with us.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Now the rest of our stories. A group of retired professors and serving lecturers from the University of Port Harcourt are seeking justice after reportedly losing ownership of land they acquired over a decade ago. The affected lecturers say they purchased the land in 2006 from the late Elechi Amadi in Igbodu Alu community, a Ikwere local government area of River State, and was intended as a retirement settlement for university staff approaching already in retirement. Speaking to Today FM, one of the affected retired lecturers, Professor Muna Anu from the Department of Biochemistry, explained that the land was paid for in installments through salary deductions. Professor Anu said following Amadi's death, the lecturers began experiencing challenges from his surviving relatives.
This land was purchased, arrangement was concluded in 2006, and the key person that really led the ASU ESCO then to do that direction was the presence of late Captain Elechi Amadi, who is retired. He was the forefront of the community that sold the land to us, and took time to pay off over 2 years by installmental withdrawal from our salaries, and later on we were able to facilitate, even built gatehouse security posts, and graded the road, put some drains, perimeter fencing, and gradually buildings were coming up. All this took up till around 20, but all of a sudden, sometime later, when the captain died, we started hearing stories about the problem with the land. It was a big surprise to us because all through this 2006 till then, before he died, he kept telling us, develop your land, this is your land, nobody should come and disturb you. And we're working towards it. All of a sudden, a new dimension came.
Another retired lecturer, Professor Antonia Okerugu, from the Department of Neurology, described the development as heartbreaking, stating that a man identified as Fabulous Amiuli, a relative of the late Amadi, has now laid claim to the land.
I was now shocked to hear that some land grabbers, as I would call them, led by one Fabulous, whom I understand belongs to the same family like the late revered Captain Elechi Amadi, who was the front runner in selling us that piece of land from Mbodo Alo, had now gone to say that we were now trespassers into their family land. And I had always known that if somebody has a problem over a piece of land or whatever, and you do not do something about it for 10 years, that the person forfeits any claim. So that's what I had always known as a young person. Now retired over 5 years ago, so you can imagine how old I am and how disappointed I was not to be able to build a small place where I had paid for.
On his part, Professor Frank Oke-Omo appealed for urgent government intervention, alleging a miscarriage of justice in the court ruling, which he said was delivered hastily and without prior notice. Professor Oke-Omo stated that the judgment awarded full possession of the land to Amiuli, leaving the original buyers stranded.
Many members of our community have been, who had plots in that place, had started building and built their houses to live in, and some retired persons equally been there. And all of a sudden, a judgment was given recently on that land to some land grabbers led by Mr. Same Hule, who is an indigene of Mbodo Alu, who belonged to the community that initially sold the land to the university community, for the university garden estate for mainly.
The National President, Association of Muslim Devotees of Nigeria, His Royal Highness Isaka Adebayo, has called on Yoruba's resident in Rivers State to conduct themselves peacefully throughout the period of local government election in the state. Adebayo, who spoke to Today FM's Magnus Umwa, said it was their right to vote and be voted for under the Constitution, but such exercise should be free, fair and credible. He noted that democracy still remains the best form of government in the world and advised politicians to play the game with some level of maturity and decency. The Muslim cleric, who doubles as king of Yorubas in the state, however, assured that President Bola Tinubu is on track to improve the economy of the country for the good of all. And on the foreign scene, former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton are among a range of high-profile names to receive subpoenas from a congressional committee to testify about deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Republican James Comer, issued the subpoenas to the Clintons as well as 8 other individuals. The committee is looking for more information about Epstein's history after President Donald Trump's administration decided against releasing more federal files on the last financier. That decision sparked outrage among Trump's supporters and some liberals, as many believe the files include a client list of famous men affiliated with Epstein. The subpoenas cast a wide net across Justice Department leadership during the Obama, Trump and Biden administrations, and the committee also subpoenaed the department itself for records related to Epstein. To end the news, here is a summary of the major stories. President Tinubu signs insurance reform bill into law. Federal government reaffirms commitment to Ogoni demands ahead of oil exploration resumption. On the foreign scene, former U.S. President Bill Clinton among names subpoenaed in congressional Epstein investigation. That was the news as edited by Funaya Obemendukwe. For comment and inquiries, please call 0818-389-2850 or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. My name is Queen Chima. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Get ready to feel the rhythm, the groove, and the true vibes of Africa. This is not just music. This is high life. From the legends to the latest, we're bringing you the best of palm wine grooves, jazzy horns, and soul-stirring melodies. There was a sound that told our stories, a rhythm that made our fathers dance and our mothers smile. Welcome to The Thrill, a musical journey through time where legends live on and new stars shine. Join us from Mondays to Thursdays, 9 p.m. on Today 95.1 FM for the ultimate high life musical show. Don't just listen, feel the music. High life lives here.
Africa's life. Africa's life. Africa's life. Africa's life. It all begins with breaking news.
Now, make no mistake, this is a difficult mission, and it will remain difficult for some time.
Then it keeps trending. Events, issues, personalities, all struggling to gain attention. But in the race with deadlines, the intrigues, power play, undercurrents are often missed or underreported.
Insecurity here is basically a product of poverty.
But not anymore. As the platform on radio steps in to fill the missing links on events, issues, and personalities in the news.
I'm not afraid of anybody. Yeah!
The platform on radio serves only the hottest topics and trending issues. Only on Today 95.1 FM. 95.1 FM. Port Harcourt.
Weekdays, 4 p.m.
Get on the platform on radio and be served.
Wake up to today's quest, where breakfast on the radio is full course. We start with some motivation to ignite the spark in you for a great day. Then a full interactive sports show on Sport Attack 6:30 a.m. Unbeatable and concise news reports on the world news at 7 a.m. And our newspaper review segment now 7:30 a.m. Oh yes, 7:30 a.m. The scoops and the commentaries from my esteemed panelists. Today's quest 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. Miss it, you miss out.